So the Kansas City Chiefs had some definite standout performances and they win against the Baltimore Ravens. Some stood out in a good way, some didn't stand out as much as in a good way. So let's take a deep dive into this game that also included an insane ending that shows football is just a game of inches. But first, like and subscribe for more content and make sure to turn on that bell. Now let's get into this week 1 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. And there is a lot of takeaways in this game, and that's from positive to negative. But first, let's talk about the offense. The offense looked pretty sharp and explosive. They didn't really have any issues getting the ball up the field and getting into the red zone. I love what I seen out of the offense for sure. I mean, when we talk about the offensive line, they looked pretty good. They were blocking well. There were concerns about the left tackle position, but Kingsley did a pretty good job, especially for it being his first NFL game ever. Jawan Taylor did a pretty good job at right tackle, of course. And obviously the 3 interior linemen, Creed, Joe, and Trey, they were great as usual. Now, when it comes to the wide receivers, with Hollywood Brown being out, due to injury, the starting 3 were Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Justin Watson. Juju Smith-Schuster was even out there. He also saw some playing time, but he only had 1 target, which was in the red zone that he ended up dropping. It was a pretty difficult catch to bring down, so I can't really be mad at him. But Justin Watson, he did get involved as well. He had a 25-yard catch on 1st and 10, which was his only catch of the game, but it was a huge one that gave the Chiefs a great field position. And we talk about Xavier Worthy. He had a pretty good NFL debut. He had totaled 68 yards total, and he had 2 receptions for 47 receiving yards. And he also had 1 carry for 21 rushing yards. And he also totaled 2 touchdowns. One was a 21-yard rushing touchdown, and the other was a 35-yard touchdown catch, which was on a broken coverage, but it was still very, very impressive. And then Rashee Rice was also great. He had 103 yards on 7 receptions on 9 targets. Very great performance out of him. I would definitely expect more of this throughout the season. And when we talk about Travis Kelce, he started off pretty slow, 34 yards on 3 receptions, but he will obviously pick it up. Noah Gray was pretty surprising, though, 37 yards on 3 receptions, and he made some very good plays. Defense was locked in as well. McDuffie was cornerback 1, obviously. He made great plays all game, really showing how much of a lockdown corner he is. But I also love what I seen out of Jalen Watson. I mean, he looked pretty good. He was tackling well, flying all over the field. He had 11 tackles and a great pass breakup, So he did pretty good. Chris Jones obviously did well, and he was a huge impact on this game and the Chiefs win, but we're going to get into that a little later. But from here, I want to actually focus more on the actual standout players / standout plays. So let's get into it. Leo Chenal, he was a big standout. He tackled good. He had 2 passes deflected and a TFL with 7 tackles. So Leo Chenal's stock is definitely up after this game. He looks absolutely deadly, and it's honestly crazy how he gets better every year. I mean, Kansas City, they let Willie Gay Jr. walk in free agency, partially because they saw plenty of potential in Chenal. On Thursday night, he was strong against the run while shadowing Lamar Jackson, and also in bringing down Derrick Henry. Chenal finished with 7 tackles, including 1 for a loss, and it was a big reason why the defense could contain the Ravens just enough to grab the win. The reason is that Leo Chenal was playing so good, and he was definitely a big impact on that Chiefs win against the Ravens. But it's really scary how Chris Jones looked like he might be on his way to a Defensive Player of the Year season. I mean, he's absolutely due for one. Chris Jones did great with a sack and a TFL and a forced fumble. He had an amazing game and a huge impact on this game and his Chiefs win. His sack / forced fumble was the biggest defensive play of the day, if you ask me. I mean, Jones was absolutely unblockable against the Ravens as well. And it really looked like Baltimore just gave up trying to block him, Eventually, Lamar Jackson, he just started running away from him. And it was great to see Chris Jones back on the field because last season he wasn't on the field in our season opener against the Detroit Lions due to contract issues. But he's shown that he was worth every penny of his new contract. And Jones is a huge, essential key to this defense. And Noah Gray was a huge standout as well, and we will have to keep an eye on him. He knows the playbook, and I'm sure that he'll make, many more big plays like he did in this Ravens game. He's only going to continue to improve and get better. He's shown a lot of his flashes of, potential that he has. He's shown a lot of flashes of that. And Noah Gray was signed to a new 3-year deal right before the opener. He had some pass plays specifically drawn up to get him the football, and he had more receiving yards than the starting Hall of Fame tight end Travis Kelce. So it was definitely a good day to be Noah Gray. And the guy who has been doing a little stuff for the Kansas City offense may finally be featured a bit more often. Now this is going to be a real surprise and standout because he's usually not spoken about a lot. But Turk Wharton was a pretty huge standout, and his stock is definitely going up as well. Turk Wharton registered 4 pass rush pressures versus the Ravens per PFF, third most for the Chiefs. But that was just one part of the impact he made. He played the second most snaps of all KC defensive linemen against the run, and Wharton earned 2 stops. And he had tackles that caused a failure for the Baltimore Ravens offense. So he was showing great ball awareness and strong shedding, and he was showing what he could do. Him and the rest of the Chiefs defensive line definitely were more effective early in the game before fatigue set in, but it was very good to see what he was doing, man. I love what Turk Wharton did. And Xavier Worthy looked very good. And I know I spoke about him earlier, but he needs to be spoken about again. So we finally got a glimpse of what the Chiefs offense could do when featuring Worthy's ridiculous speed. And it was honestly glorious. I mean, not only did Xavier Worthy score on his first touch, his speed opened up space for other receivers underneath. And that's why our offense was looking so fluid. And Worthy's second touchdown came on a busted coverage, but he was moving well enough that good coverage might have stopped him, So Xavier Worthy is a wide receiver for the Chiefs who's been absolutely unreal. I know it's only been one game, but you can already see the potential, and Andy Reid has a lot of things in store for him. And once Patrick Mahomes gets more comfortable with him, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem, and on that busted coverage, Worthy was going to get the ball. There was no way Patrick Mahomes was going to miss that throw. A guy like Mahomes is not missing that. So that was a very good play right there for Xavier Worthy and Patrick Mahomes, and I loved what I've seen out of them too. And they're definitely a duo for the future. And we also spoke about Rashee Rice already. We must speak about him again as well because he looks absolutely insane. I mean, the second-year receiver was the primary space creator, and it was created. Most of the space was created by Worthy's speed, and Rice and Mahomes were completely on the same page. I mean, they converted on slants and crossers that was specifically designed to lead the defense with few options, and Rice made the most of his opportunities, turning 9 targets into 7 catches for 103 yards, and he's going to have a big season, and he'll be causing plenty of problems for opposing defenses. I just can't wait to see it, man. Jalen Watson as well. He looked pretty good. He was tackling well, flying all over the field. He got 11 tackles and a great pass breakup, and he is definitely our cornerback too. So the Kansas City Chiefs team just looked absolutely unreal, and this game against the Baltimore Ravens left us with a lot of information, and it just makes me more excited for what's to come for the rest of the season, and that's what I'm focusing on. What's to come for the rest of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs, because this team looks amazing, man, and that's just a preview of what's to come. It's going to be a very legendary season for the Chiefs. But one of the biggest takeaways from the Chiefs versus Ravens game is just the fact that KC's defensive centerpieces played like superstars. I mean, like I said early in the video, defensive lineman Chris Jones, he announced his presence early in the game. He stole an entire drive on one play with his strip sack of Lamar Jackson. He continued to terrorize the Ravens' offensive line throughout the game. I mean, Jones routinely hunted matchups across Baltimore's line. He put together the type of dominant performance that should put him back in Defensive Player of the Year conversations. He never should have even left. And his ideal storybook game may have included one more hit of Jackson on the final drive. His relentless pressure was the main reason Jackson didn't even take more time to scan the field throughout the game. So Jackson definitely felt the presence of Chris Jones, and Chiefs fans seen how good Chris Jones was and what he brought to the table in that Ravens game. It was absolutely scary to watch. Now, Trent McDuffie, who lost the rep to Zay Flowers on Baltimore's first drive, he stuffed Flowers on 4th down late in the second quarter. And it seemed like KC's secondary, led by McDuffie and Justin Reed, they struggled at first, but obviously they didn't really struggle. It just seemed like that due to a few, big plays and a pass interference by Jalen Watson, but they held up pretty well while Baltimore actually was the one struggling to find their downfield passing game. Could have did better on 3rd down, but that's fine. They definitely could have been better on, stopping the 3rd down plays, but that's fine. It's the first game of the season. They had a pretty good game. And even without Chris Jones, The pass rush it wasn't bad. It was still pretty good. But the unit is built around Jones and McDuffie, with Reed, being a captain from the back. And then Leo Chenal, he deserves extra credit for being able to spy Lamar Jackson through much of the game. He definitely had a big impact on that win as well. And he had a big impact on why the Kansas City Chiefs defense looks so good. Then when we talk about the Chiefs offense in the Ravens game, I mean, you could kind of, argue that it was up and down. But in my opinion, for much of the night, the Chiefs offense was smooth, fast, decisive, and explosive. Obviously, some mistakes happened and there's things to clean up. Isaiah Pacheco dropped a bullet that should have been rewarded. A tremendous play design, possibly even leading him into the end zone on the play. And later in the same drive, Judas Smith-Schuster couldn't hold on to a pass at the goal line that hit him in the hands. So the Chiefs settled for a field goal on that drive, despite just, starting just 14 yards from the end zone. And obviously a holding penalty on Travis Kelce set them back on the first play of the drive. They also turned their next drive, which started at midfield, into just 3 points with a chance to score before the half. Patrick Mahomes threw a costly interception instead of leading the offense to a chance to double dip before and after halftime. And the issues continued. On the first drive of the second half, a roughing the passer penalty against Baltimore undid a hold on KC, saving the offense from another self-inflicted stall-out. On the next drive, Samaje P. Ryan couldn't hold in the pass with nothing but grass in front of him. Andy Reid even got in on that action, choosing to punt the ball from the 40-yard line. The punt resulted in a touchback, meaning the Chiefs punted for 20 yards of field position instead of giving Mahomes a chance to gain 5 yards in Ravens territory. But obviously, it's week one. You're going to get some good things out of week one and some bad things. It's going to give Andy Reid and Mahomes information on what they need to clean up, and trust me, they're going to clean that up. So it's definitely too early to panic about the possibility that 2024 could be another year of pass catching woes and untimely turnovers. That's not going to really happen. The offense is going to be very, very good. And the Kansas City Chiefs look amazing. And Andy Reid, and he's going to know he has to clean some things up, and he definitely will. And then when we get into the rookies, Xavier Worthy and Kingsley Sumayatia, they showing glimpses of the future. Xavier Worthy, it was his, the Chiefs' first offensive drive was fast and decisive, and it ended off with Worthy having a 21-yard touchdown run. And that's a glimpse of what the Chiefs hope to see from Worthy's future and from second-round rookie left tackle Kingsley Sumayaita's future as well, because he was blocking pretty well, and he blocked well on that Xavier Worthy touchdown run. Kingsley had a few pass protection reps that would earn some attention in the meeting room this week, and he looked pretty good, And Worthy, he's shown the absolute stunning game-breaking speed that his 40-yard dash time suggested, and it looks like he could bring it to the NFL level. And Kingsley starts to play at left tackle. He ends the play by throwing a block downfield on the right side of the field, and he held his own pretty well. He's a rookie, obviously, with a few growing pains, but that's a win. He did very, very well. And then Worthy's second touchdown was huge for the team, and it was the result of a nice release, but also blown coverage by Baltimore. But Worthy still gets full credit for being where Mahomes expected him to be, finishing the play and getting into the end zone. And yeah, man, that win overall, it was hard fought. It was a great win. And with 16 games remaining on the 2024 schedule, you could say that the defending Super Bowl champions are off to a very hot start. And I know I keep talking great things about this victory, and I keep speaking about how great this victory is. But despite the victory, we know, like I said in this video, Kansas City still has plenty of room to improve ahead of their next tilt against the Cincinnati Bengals in week 2. And all them guys that I mentioned, the big standouts and what they did, are they going to carry this momentum into week 2 is the big question, because that's very, very important. And consistency is key, man. But I was impressed with what I saw from the team on both sides of the ball. It was very good to see. And even Mitchell Scorts said the same thing. Mitchell Scorts quoted, "My biggest Chiefs takeaway from last night, this team knows exactly who they are. They already have an identity. The defense is tough, physical, plays off each other, knows they're good. The offense understands how all the pieces fit and who they want to be. It will be a fun year." And I agree with Mitchell, because last year we didn't know our identity week 1, and we didn't have an identity. But now, this year, week one, we know our identity. And like he said, the defense is tough, physical. They know they're good. And the offense knows exactly what they need to do. So the Kansas City Chiefs are doing something right after knocking off a Baltimore team that is predicted to be one of the top contenders in the NFL this season. And I expect Kansas City to build on their week one performance against the Bengals on September 15th as the Chiefs look to get out to a 2-0 start to their 2024 campaign. Then they're going to face the Falcons. Like, the schedule is going to be a pretty good, it's going to be a pretty solid, smooth year. I'm going to even do a schedule prediction in this video, so give me a second. I'm going to do that very, very soon. But these young players are honestly changing everything for the Kansas City Chiefs. And that game against the Baltimore Ravens was just a preview of what's to come, and Worthy's an example of that. I mean, we literally haven't seen nothing yet. That was just a sneak peek of all of the great things he's going to do this season. I mean, that game against Baltimore was legendary. And it's also important to remember that the Ravens had the second best defense last season. So Worthy's performance, 68 yards and just 4 touches, is exactly what the Chiefs' offense needed. That means if Worthy had 8 touches, he would have had over 120 yards. And this is exactly what the Chiefs' offense needed. I mean, after winning the Super Bowl, it was clear that their passing game needed a boost. And Worthy might just be the missing piece, bringing in that deep threat capability that they lack since trading Tyreek Hill. Xavier Worthy's blazing speed is just a game changer, and defenses will have to respect his deep threat, which should create a ripple effect across the offense, with defenses being worried of getting torched, we're likely to see more conservative coverages, and this is going to be a major boost for Rashee Rice. This is why Rashee Rice is going to be an absolute threat this year, why he's going to emerge for 1,000+ yards, maybe 1,500+. So it's going to be a major boost for Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, in the ground game. Just imagine when Travis Kelce gets started. Ooh, it's going to be crazy. And even when he's not catching passes, Worthy, his presence on the field just has the potential to take this offense to another level. Now, Worthy's not perfect. He's not the most physical player out there, and durability could be a concern. But if the Chiefs use him right, man, his speed and his separation skills could be a game changer. Plus, he has a knack for tracking those deep balls, something that the Chiefs have struggled with lately. So that's pretty good right there, what I'm seeing out of him, and I'm loving it. So now we would touch back on the offensive line a little bit, and the left tackle spot specifically. So now on to Kingsley. Let's be real. His debut, it wasn't as flashy as Worthy's, but Pro Football Focus said he only had 1 QB hit and 33 pass blocking snaps, which is honestly excellent. He was also effective on plays that involved him blocking in space, which is an Andy Reid specialty. And just going off week one, it's clear that the Chiefs made the right pick in the second round of April's draft. I mean, I'll call his debut good, but it's not great. And that's not saying a bad thing about him. It just means he has plenty of room to develop. His technique was sometimes a bit, questionable. He was called for holding early in the second half. He got beat on a few plays, but lucky for him, Mahomes is very good at releasing the ball out his hands, and he has that great ability to evade pressure. So Kingsley is a young player who didn't really face top-tier competition in college, so growing pains are expected. He'll have a few rough games this season, but that's nothing to be discouraged by because he will be developing, and he will develop into a monster and one of the best tackles in the league eventually. The Chiefs threw him into the deep end against Baltimore. He proved that he could swim. All through his debut wasn't perfect. The Chiefs should be delighted with their rookie starting left tackle. And the Chiefs, they took a swing to improve their offense in the draft. And based off that game against the Ravens, it looked like they've got 2 solid players on their hands. I mean, Kingsley looks great, even though he needs time to develop, but the team trusts him. Worthy, he could be a real weapon this year if he keeps making explosive plays. And the Chiefs' offense might reclaim his spot as the best offense in the NFL. And that's when things get pretty scary for the rest of the league, because when our offense is clicking, we're nearly unstoppable. And Andy Reid, the only thing about him, he doesn't like blowing people out. He doesn't want to, just put these teams in the coffin. He doesn't want to just blow them out and just bury them. He doesn't like doing that. For some reason, the Chiefs always keep these games close. I don't know why. I have no idea why. But they always, for some reason, literally keep these games close. And it's definitely annoying. I'm not going to lie. But they're on the quest, man, for a 3rd straight title. And the offense took full advantage of their weapons. it was honestly very beautiful to watch, man. And Rashid Rice was amazing. Travis Kelce, he's going to just get better and better. And Patrick Mahomes, finishing the night with 291 yards and a touchdown. That's a pretty good game. I don't like that interception. That could have been avoided, but next game he should just bounce back with the touchdowns. I expect him to definitely bounce back with the touchdowns. And Worthy and Mahomes is going to be very fun to watch. It's going to be deadly, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, man, as we get towards the end of this video, basically what this video is about is that the Kansas City Chiefs, man, based off that Ravens game, they look pretty ready. And I say they look ready. They look like they're ready to have a big year. They look like they're going to make history. Look like they're going to have a big year. I love what I'm seeing out of them. Super Bowl, 3-peat. It all sounds pretty possible. You can't tell me a 3-peat isn't possible, because at the end of the day, see the things that they're doing. You see how Worthy looks. See how all these, Chiefs players are coming along. They all look pretty good, man, and it's just honestly a scary recipe for the rest of the league. Now, a lot of things that I've mentioned in this video, y'all are going to see them clips throughout this whole video. I'm going to show these clips so many times. So everything I was saying, y'all could, see these clips. But this team is just something that we just never seen before, and that's in all sports. Obviously, the Los Angeles Lakers 3-peated, the Chicago Bulls, but this Chiefs team is pushing Bulls and Lakers status. They're already looking like one of the best team ever in NFL history. So this run is just insane. You got Patrick Mahomes, who's the Michael Jordan of the NFL right now. He's literally the reason why other players can't be successful, because he just keeps beating them. And that's what Patrick Mahomes brings, man. Like, he's just that player that is very hard to beat, very hard, bring him down. The Kansas City Chiefs are just different. And just McDuffie's just amazing as well. He's already starting off to a pretty good year. He literally held Zay Flowers to 2 targets, 1 catch, 19 yards, 1 tackle for turnovers on downs. And Jamar Chase is next, and I expect McDuffie to lock him up as well. So there's so many superstars on this team, and there's so many future superstars on this team. And it's honestly going to be amazing to see. Like, I really, really love it, and I'm really, really excited to see how this goes. I hope y'all are excited, because at the end of the day, this Chiefs team will probably end up 3-peating. And now I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but I'm definitely saying that I could really, really see it happening. I could. I really could, man. Gotta love what the Chiefs is doing. And if you're a Chiefs hater right now, that's honestly on you, because this is a team that I see being a historic team. We're definitely probably going to end up with the most rings for an NFL franchise. To be honest with you, I could see that easily happening. I mean, we have the team, we have the players, we have everything. We have a great coaching staff, we have Hall of Fame coaches, Hall of Fame coordinators, great players, great defense, just a good overall foundation here in Kansas City. And that's the reason why this team keeps succeeding. You have Hall of Famers like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes, and you have players that look like they'll be Hall of Famers one day. I mean, it's beautiful to watch. It's good drafting over the years, and all of these factors just all play a role in why this Kansas City Chiefs team is so good. And like I continue to repeat, that Baltimore Ravens game was just a preview of what's to come for this Chiefs team. And can't wait to see what we do against Cincinnati next week. Hopefully we literally, prove a point against them, as we should. We should prove a point against them. That's what I'm hoping we do, because while we not prove a point against them, when Patrick Mahomes still has a losing record to Joe Burrow, and when Joe Burrow and company still continue to be the same Cincinnati Bengals, pillow talking on the Chiefs, and all that stuff. So the Chiefs should be able to handle business against the Bengals, and I can't wait to see that. So this is going to be my new format of videos. I'll be doing more longer videos like this and, just these type of videos, breaking down games and stuff like that. So it's been your boy Chiefs Priority, and I'm out, man. Peace.